Hi there. My name's Ryan Anderson. I'm in the Promeneo Tech back end boot camp for winter of 2022. This is my homework assignment for weeks 3 and 4. Kind of just going over it and everything. I just want to first say it may not look pretty, but it works. But I don't want to spend too much time chit chatting because I only have about 5 minutes. So I'm going to go through this pretty quick here. First and foremost, the first thing we need to do is create an array of an integer called ages that contains the following values. Here it is, integer. Here's the array, ages, and here are the values. Ready to go. Programmatically subtract the value of the first element in the array from the value of the last element in the array. Um, and then spit it out. So I have it here. Integer I created was subtract element. It's ages. It automatically, puts together all the ages or identifies all the ages here using the length object. Subtracts one because it starts at zero for an index thing, and then it subtracts the first element in the array, which is at zero, which is of course that three, and it comes down right here, and that's your 90 there. Then it says to add a new age to the array and see if it works. Here's the array again. I added 103, ran the same thing, came out to 100. All right, so here we have it says use a loop to iterate through the array and calculate the average age. Um, Once again, we have the integer ages. All those ages are in there. I created a new integer sum here, and then there's a for loop right here that kind of adds it all up. Um, because I didn't think it was going to be just a straight integer, I used the double here and set it up for the average. It was double sum and then the ages length, and then print it out. Comes out to 28.75 years. All right, so here we have another one creating an array of a string called names that contain the following values. Here are the values. Here's your string of names right here. Boom. Uh, you know, Spits it out right here. Got it all here. Or actually, it says, no, it's right there. So that's good. Um, and it says use a loop to iterate through the array and calculate the average number of letters per name. Oh, I'm sorry, that was the wrong thing. Anyway, here's the loop. It's another for loop right here. Um, Starts at the first name. It goes through all the names length and then spits out all the sum. Once again, we double the average again because I think it's going to be more, which it was, or it wasn't just a simple number. Doubled it, and then again divided by the name's length, printed out, and that's where you get that 3.833333 all that way, that repeating number. Next one, use a loop to iterate through the array again and concatenate all the names together separated by spaces, and then print the result to the console. Here we go. Here's that array. I created the variable name names concatenated. Um, and so on and so forth. And printed it out. I put that space in there because we didn't want them all next to each other. So we have Sam, Tommy, Tim, Sally, Buck, and Bob. Done. All right. So how would you access the last element of an array? I created, to prove this, I created the variable last element, and it basically spits out all the names. It goes to the all the way to the end, and then of course it subtracts one because it starts at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but it starts at zero, so we have to subtract one. Prints out last element. The last element there is Bob. First element's a little easier. Once again, you have the same string here or first string array. First element here starts at the zero marker, which is the first element in an array, and that's Sam. So right down there we have Sam. Then it says create a new array of integers called name lengths. Write a loop to iterate over the previously created names array and add the length of each name to the name length. So here's your string. There's this new integer names length. Here's your for loop right here. It also, comes out. So what we print out here is the names plus and then a space and then the name length. And then we have them all here. Sam 3, Tommy 5, Tim 3, Sally 5, Buck 4, Bob 3. Okay, then it says write a loop to iterate over the name length array and calculate the sum of all the elements in the array. Once again, here it is, the for loop. Um, Comes out with the name links. We have sum for this one, and the sum is 23. Okay, so this is when we get into methods. Write a method that takes a string word uh, and an int, so a string word and an integer n as arguments, and returns the word concatenated to itself for the number of times. So it says hello 3 times as the example. I set it up. Well, here it is. Here's the string word I put in my name, Ryan. I wanted it to print out 4 times. So it's all set up here, but the method itself is, let's see, the method itself is right down here. Um, oh, sorry. It's right down here. So repeated word, um, the breakdown's right here again. It's using a for loop here. It's return repeated word. If you go back up here, um, again, it's Ryan 4 times. We can see it right down here. Ryan, 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 Ryan. So Ryan, 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 4 times. Perfect. Okay. Then another method is that takes 2 strings, first name and last name, and returns a full name, and so on and so forth. Um, Here we go. Here's the method I put together here. I called it provide full name. Take the string, the first name, string last name, put it all together, put a space in between. Once again, up here, I decided to use the name Michael and Jordan and print it out, and it comes out Michael and Jordan. Next up, write a method that takes an array of an integer and returns true if the sum of all the integers in the array is greater than 100. So here's a sum greater method I put together. Again, it's a for loop here, and it returns if the sum is greater than 100, it returns true. If the sum is less than 100, it returns false. So if we go back up, take a quick look at that. Um, we put in the values 1, 5, 12, 17, and 6. That does not add up to 100, so we have the answer there, false. All right, write a method that takes an array of a double and returns the average of all of the elements in the array. So here we go. Here's the get average method I put together here. Um, I use the values 2. I didn't want to use values again just because I didn't want to confuse the system. Maybe it would have worked. I didn't try it. I just put in values 2. So values 2, length and everything like that. It takes the sum of the values and then divides it by the total length to get that sum. We go back up here. Where is it? What are the values in the array that we put in? All of them right here, and then it get average of values 2 again, um, and then we have it right down here, 35.22. So if we add them all together and then divide them by the total number, we're going to get 2. We have write a method that takes 2 arrays of the double and returns true if the average of the elements in the first array is greater than the average of the elements in the second array. Woo! That's a big one. So this one breaks it up into 2. Again, I use the variables values 3 and values 4. I don't want to confuse anything. We have a for loop right here that gets the length of um, the values in the first array, and then once again sums it up with sum 1, and then it divides it by the number of values, and it will give you the average there. Then we have sum 2, which takes the values in that are marked in the values for array, and then their length and everything, and it gets the sum of the values, then divides it again by the length of the values for, and then it's a Boolean question, so the return is average 1 greater than the average of 2 value, or excuse me, is average 1 greater than the average of values 2. So that's where those averages come in. Once again, if we go up here, we have the values 3, put a bunch in there, values 4, put a bunch of values out, and in this case, it is true. Um, then we have write a method called will buy drink that takes a boolean is hot outside and a double money in pocket and returns true if it's hot outside and if money in pocket is greater than 1050. So if we go to this, so it's a pretty simple method. You take whether or not it's hot outside. That's, a true or false that we put in there, and then the amount of money in one's pocket, and then it returns is hot outside and money in pocket. As long as the money in pocket is greater than 1050 and it's hot outside, then it'll return true. Um, if it's hot outside but the money is less than 1050, it'll return false. If the variable on is it hot outside is false, and but money's over $10.50 or greater than $10.50, it'll also return false. Go back up here. Um, we have, oh, that's not super far away. So Boolean, no, sorry. Oh, I got to go all the way. So in this case, we said is hot outside is true. It's hot outside. In the money variable, money in pocket is $8.63. So that returned a value of false. And then finally, I needed to create my own method for something that was connected to me in some way, shape, or form. For me, I'm a teacher, so maybe I want to see the average letter grade of my entire class. Obviously, my classes are much bigger than this, but I kinda just went with something simple. I'm not gonna put all the averages. So for this one, again, we wanted to get the class average based on student percentages. So we created a for loop that created, uh, essentially the class averages right here. There it is right there. And then an if statement for the return. So, or an else if else if statement. So, the first one to go through, if the average is greater than 90, it would return back an A. So if that was not true, it would run it again. If the average was greater than 80, but obviously less than 90, it would return a B. Obviously, it wouldn't even go to this if it was greater than 90, um, and so on and so forth. So obviously, if the average is greater than 70, it skips these two because it's, perhaps 78. The return is a C. If it's less than, 60, or excuse me, greater than 60, but less than these three, it's a D. And then finally, if it just doesn't hit anything else, it just returns an F. So, um, the values we put in there, 95.9. Again, these aren't percentages, but they're just double values there, without the percentages. And then it prints out the class average letter grade. In this case, class average comes out to a B. So that is my setup there. Hopefully that fits everything. I don't know the time on this. Imagine it's over 5 minutes. But that's just life. So we're just gonna go from there. So I'm gonna stop sharing now.